Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here. Hello. Welcome to, I don't know what we called this, From the Archives #2 or Lost Treasures or something like that.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, please go to thatpedalshowstore.com and buy some merch. Mugs. I need a new mug. T-shirts, hats, all kinds of things that we use as the primary way we fund this show. Also thatpedalshop.com in the US and also patreon.com/thatpedalshow to support us in that way if you feel so inclined.
Indeed. Beautiful. So part 2, the last week we had...
Or it might have been the week before, depending on how the editing goes.
Yeah. Well,
The last one.
The last one, a bunch of things that we were very fizzy about when we first played them, and we hadn't used them for a really long time, and sort of going back over the videos, it was like 7 years ago, some of that stuff we hadn't touched.
So some of this stuff dates back almost 7 years. I think the JuJu and the Royal Overdrive. And then, the Lovepedal even predates that.
Yes.
Dimension C and Volante a bit newer. But things that we got on the show and we were like, wow, we flipping love this. And then maybe used once or twice since, but then not really much. So
yeah,
a re-listen with newer ears, well, older ears, but with more experienced ears with the amp setup we're used to now.
In Shangri-La.
Yeah,
yeah,
which we've been here for a long time now, but probably not played very much of this stuff in here. Old guitars resurfaced. This is blue. Regular viewers of the show will know this guitar from the early days. The guitar that I started off playing on That Pedal Show, and Dan's using red. We might get a couple things out, a couple more guitars out while we go through the stuff, but yeah, a reminisce. Do we remember it the same? Do we like them as much?
Yeah.
What have we learned? What are our observances?
Indeed.
In the years that have passed.
Nice. Well, we'll start off then, as we should start off with the JuJu. So, Pigdog, Steve at Pigdog in London makes really incredible stuff, and I've known about his creations for a long time. Paul Stacey first put me onto him. And I've had a bunch of things from Steve, a Trouble Booster and some other fuzzes, but on his Instagram page, I saw a picture of this, and you'll see this iridescent paint job on it, and it's the most astonishing finish I've ever seen on a pedal.
We'll do a nice detail of it so you can see.
And I bought it purely for that. I didn't even know what it was. I saw the tone control on it and I thought, well, it must be a tone bender of some type. But I just thought it was the most beautiful finish I've seen on a pedal. Anyway, being from Pigdog, I thought there's a really good chance it's going to be amazing.
It'll sound okay.
It's going to sound okay.
Yeah.
So it's a take on a tone bender, and it's sort of a mix between a Mark 1 and a Mark 2. It's basically a Mark 1 with a tone control, but yeah, it's as soon as I plugged it in, it's like, oh, this is wonderful.
Come on then.
All right,
amplifiers. 2-Rook.
I wonder what the settings are.
Classic Reverb Signature, which is my favourite amp in the world, and Matchless C30, which is Dan's favourite amp in the world. They're both running together, essentially dual mono, although you might hear stereo when we get to the Volante, but everything is hitting both amps all the time.
I've hooked the Dimension C up in stereo as well,
Oh,
just because it
Get out of town.
has to be done.
Get out of town.
Okay, so 2 amps together. With the JuJu. It's so good.
Raucous. instantly that sounds
Yeah.
to me. Sounds later than Mark 1 because Mark 1's like real edgy, real aggressive. That's smooth as you like.
Yeah, because of the tone control, but it still has the aggressive edges. Like it's yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly how it's done it.
I'll put my glasses down somewhere, so you'll have to tell me because I can't see.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really killer actually. No cleanup on a tone bender usually.
It's bloody wonderful.
So that's a 3 transistor
Yep.
tone bender type circuit.
Yep.
I love it. It's almost how do you explain this then? So when I turn my volume down to 0, something. When I turn it up to 2, nothing.
Oh wow, okay.
So I've obviously cooked something there. It's almost muffy
Yeah, okay. I can
in the smoothness.
Yeah. But it's got that beautiful, almost cocked wah type mid-range to it.
Yeah. Oh, very Mick Ronson-y as well.
Yeah, totally.
I was into Edwin Collins and it should have been Mick Ronson, really.
But I love these are single coil guitars and that's the sound it delivers.
Bonkers.
It's so great.
Nice. Okay, we'll hear some more of that before the end of the video. Royal Overdrive by Van Weelden. I first came across this. I was doing some videos with Pete in the Andertons channel. Guitar Paradiso, I think we called it. And this turned up. So Van Weelden, Peter Van Weelden is his name. And he had a relationship with Joe Bonamassa. Joe used to use some of Peter's amps, I think.
Right.
And Van Weelden makes some very nice Dumbly type amps, or Peter makes some very nice Dumbly type amps. And this pedal was designed to emulate some of that Dumbly flavour.
Okay.
The Royal Overdrive. It's quite the beast.
Yeah.
Despite its size, there's no tube in it or anything.
It's really interesting. There's no tube in it, but it's a really power hungry, like draws a lot of current.
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot going on in there. On the top there, you see 2 modes, an A and a B mode, and a 3-position bright switch. That all depends where you're using it in your chain. So I think some of those things are optimized for effects loops, and some of them are optimized for the front of your amp. I had a conversation with Peter about it back in the day. He said, just pick the ones do you like the sound of the most. So we've ended up at that today. Its characteristic voice is that very mid-rich overdrive that you would expect from Dumbleland. And it's we all think of Tube Screamers as fairly mid-humped, but check this out.
Because what that needed was more mids.
It's funny. What it reminds me of is a TS and a Klon together.
That's so funny you're going to say that, because I was going to say it sounds like it's a sound that would normally take 2 or 3 pedals.
Yeah.
Sort of put together to get it really. It's wonderful. It's very ampy. That sort of the dynamics of it when you dig in and how reactive it is off your volume control.
Because you don't get that. It will do. I'll plug in some humbuckers in a sec, but when you say ampy, what I equate with that is something that's a bit ragged around the edges, that isn't super smooth and compressed like a lot of overdrive pedals can be.
Right.
And it seems to have that.
Yeah.
It seems to have that. Have a shrang with the telly and see how it feels. So we went from lower gain to much higher gain. I'm going to think that kind of mid response is not massively pleasant to your...
It's very difficult with a telly.
Yeah.
It's just too much. But it's definitely it feels really wonderful. But hearing it with the Strat, it just puts all that back.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Try some humbuckers just to finish off. Now, obviously, both of these amps are fairly mid-heavy. They've got quite a strong mid-range character. If you were to plug that into a deluxe reverb, a lot of that mid-scoop that's in the amp would be... I think it would balance deluxe reverb out quite nicely.
Sure.
Maybe here it's a little much for your taste, or maybe you love it. So some humbuckers.
Oh man.
You'd have no problem being heard with that, would you? I don't think.
No. And even on the lower gain settings, when you dig in, it just goes bah. It's sort of that, it's so like that input voltage thing. It's got so much dynamic range in there. It's amazing. But it doesn't, like even on the higher gain setting, it doesn't really lose that dynamic range. It's really cool.
No,
really
it holds on to it. And I think also rewards those of you who play Gibsons, either Les Paul or SG or, 335 or any two humbucker Gibson for that matter, you might find you live quite a bit of your life 8 or 9 on the volume pot. And I think it really will rewards that.
Right.
And then, only up to full for the crazy bits. But actually the amount of, like you say, headroom, sonic information, texture, detail that's all there when you just knock the guitar back a bit is really nice.
Just sounds like it's been like tuned to perfection.
Yeah.
That's not a circuit that's been thrown together.
No, and it does vary quite a lot if you use the different modes and bright settings. And again, just to say again, it sounds very, very, very mid-peaked into these amps. Probably less so into a deluxe reverb.
Sure. Amazing. Cool. Okay, on to the Lovepedal Eternity. So this, let me think. I wrote about this pedal in Guitar Buyer magazine. Right? So how long ago that was. But I've had this. This is like one of the first runs of the Lovepedal Eternity. So it's Sean at Lovepedal. This is one of the ones it's all hand wired, or circuit board all done by hand. And a friend of mine had one, and I played it, and I just fell in love with it. Had no idea what it was.
It's always got more gain than I thought it had.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
So it's based very loosely around a tube screamer.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't have input or output buffers. The filter's different. Does have more gain. Does have more bottom end.
So it's like a Land Rover where you take the wheels off,
change the
body shell.
Yeah. It's triggers broom. But this was on my pedal board for like years and years. It was this King of Tone, Hotcake and Troll Booster was the main pedals. And I loved it, but I haven't used it. Like today's the first time it's been turned on for a very long time.
Oh, Lovepedal, you're so lovely.
All right. So imagine what you think a tube screamer would sound like.
There's something I prefer about where the mid is pushed in the Lovepedal.
Right. Okay. In this setup, yeah.
Yeah, it's still very middly.
Very middly,
but less pointedly so than the Royal Overdrive in this case.
Sure. Yeah, and it works for the telly in a way
really
that other
does.
mid push things doesn't for me.
Let's try it with some humbuckers and then I'll go back to the Strat a sec. love that honk.
It's killer, isn't it? So because it doesn't have the buffers...
It's pretty dumbly, actually.
Yeah. Because it doesn't have the buffers, where you set the volume and gain has a massive impact on how it sounds, right? Because it changes impedances and things.
Okay.
So, yeah, man, it's killer.
See what it does to the Strat. I'm always interested to hear on mid-pushed pedals what it does to the Strat, because the Strat is somewhat deficient in those mids compared to a Tele or compared to a 2 humbucker Gibson. One of John Mayer's favourite tricks, quite mid-scoopy guitar, push the mid, either with a TS10 or Klon type thing. So let's see where that sits in relation to this.
Come on!
Super vocally.
Beautiful. It's very nice, isn't it?
It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice.
Yeah. Man, tell you what.
Does he still make stuff?
I'm assuming so. And there's been since this came out, there's been a bunch of different Eternities. The Kanji, and of course all the new ones of PCB and the stuff, and they all sound great. But there's something about this one being one of the really, really early ones, and it's just the way it's sort of thrown together inside. It's sort of a little bit messy, and it's just awesome.
It is interesting, actually. Both of those overdrives that we've tried, and the Fuzz to some extent, just obviously there's compression going on because it is overdrive, but they feel, maybe because we're loud, I don't know, wide open.
Yeah.
In terms of dynamic
Yeah.
response, not in any way kind of closing you down.
Well, I used to hit that. Generally, I have the gain down a little bit, but I used to hit that with a treble booster.
No way.
And it was just into an AC30, and it just sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So, it's just, there's something awesome about that thing. And it's like, wow, hearing it again after so long. Actually, it's being a really interesting day, and I'm having, I'm already doing my board again. Listening to all this stuff.
I'm not quite sure what's going on outside. You might have heard that in the mics or not. It sounded like, it still sounds like a B-52, not very high up.
Yeah.
Actually, they're not called B-52s anymore, are they? What do I mean? Anyway, that
Love
thing.
Shack.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sign, sirs. Stay away, fools. But either of these overdrives, if you're into coaxing that feedback out, you want to get that at slightly lower volumes compared to a regular overdrive pedal. Both good at that, because they both peak in those mid frequencies where that really happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't remember the Eternity, because I think we only ever used it once early days. I remember the Royal Overdrive well. So far, everything is standing up in a big way.
Yeah.
All right, then, DC2 Wazza. We were very excited when this happened because
excited.
we were in Germany at an event that Toman Music puts on.
Mm-hmm.
And Boss were there. Boss was there, our friend Matt, who works for Boss, and he had an original Dimension D in a rack. And we made a video with Matt Schofield, do you remember?
That's right.
And the reason we did that was because it had come to light that the original Roland Dimension D rack effect, so it's like a black box, 19-inch, 2-unit black box with 4 knobs in the bottom right-hand corner. It looked very unassuming, didn't it?
Just 4 buttons.
3 white ones and 1 red one, is that right?
Yep.
If I'm remembering that correctly. And it was used on countless 80s
So much.
recordings, not to be confused with the tri-stereo chorus, but not a completely dissimilar sound.
Yeah.
Boss, there was a Dimension C back in the day in compact pedal form, and then they decided to do this in the Wazza format.
Mm-hmm.
So we were very excited about that. And God knows how many years ago that was now, but it was a few.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah. I've always associated with a Purple Rain sound, but apparently, according to Wendy, that's not the Purple Rain sound.
Okay.
But I don't care. And we've got it in stereo, which is pretty cool because it sounds like this. If the guitar was in tune. But it's a very unique take on chorus.
What a sound.
Can sound a little bit overwhelming when it's in line like that, but when you heard it in the 80s, it would have been a aux send and return parallel effect, so you could just mix it in a little bit. And back to the Matt Schofield story, it turns out that there was quite a bit of it on Texas Flood.
Wow.
Apparently on Stevie Ray's debut studio record. So yeah, I put it on my board for ages, right up until the point I realised it didn't have a huge amount of headroom.
Yeah.
So slamming it with preamps and stuff made it overdrive a bit.
Yeah.
But what a sound! Have a shrinky.
Wow.
There's almost a flange-like quality about it.
Yeah.
Which I guess is why you like it so much.
Yeah. Far out, man.
It's such a great sound. Like if you're doing, I know it maybe not necessarily exactly the same pedal, but if you're doing, I don't know, what's the Guns N' Roses song with the famous chorus on the beginning?
November Rain.
Is it? I don't know. Well, maybe it's Paradise City or something. But
oh yeah. That one. Yeah,
has that got a chorus on it?
There, I think so.
I don't know. In my head, it's got a chorus on it. Listen to a lot of Reckless by Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
A lot of really nice chorusy, heavy overdrive sounds on that. I'm not saying that it was the Dimension C. It just puts me in mind of it in a big way. My fingers are going to fall off.
Yeah, that's extraordinary.
I'm not saying it is that sound. I'm saying it is reminiscent of that sound, and it certainly would. It would be in the right ballpark, age-wise, given that stuff was all over the music of that period.
Yeah, so good, so good.
Really cool. And if you're not into like a traditional analog chorus that can sound fat and soupy, which is a wonderful thing if you like it, and at the same time like a very sparkly sounding modern digital chorus doesn't really do it for you. It's a great alternative.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Completely analog. It's really, really interesting circuit. Two separate delay chips with the clocks that are tied. The timing is basically out of phase, so it's different than some of those choruses that you see with the out of phase output. They're literally just taking the affected output and flipping the phase. This is completely different. This is both sides are in phase, but it's the tied clock, the actual modulation rate that's out of phase. So they're moving.
Oh wow!
And it's like you can't get that sound any other way. So it's it's what's so difficult to do because it's basically two different choruses.
Yeah.
With independent chips in there, but with the time synced. It's amazing.
On the original rack units, you could jam all the buttons in to get the maximum effect.
Yeah.
On this one, I think you can only have two, but it might be that the custom mode, like with all Wazza series pedals, they have the standard mode and they have a custom mode. It might be, if memory serves, the custom mode in number 4 is all 4 buttons in. I can't quite remember, but
right,
something like that.
Yeah, it's so cool. I think one of the reasons that there were 4 buttons like only on the pedals because it was so hard to get all of that tech in a boss-sized box. They said, right, you're going to have 4 settings and that's it. And each of the buttons was just like a resistor or a pair of resistors.
Oh, right.
And it just changed the speed and the depth.
Changed the speed of the...
And that's it. Because it's like that's all they could fit in the pedal. It's just so cool. And a classic was born.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to hear that again.
Yep.
Volante then. So this is the newest pedal on the board, I think. I hope. But as is always the case, it felt like yesterday we did the first video on the Volante. It was 4 years ago.
Far out, man.
Which I still don't think I can quite believe, other than it's what it said on the video when I was looking through our YouTube videos earlier.
Wow. There's a mate of mine put a video up yesterday, and he had this absolutely mega pad that he'd created, and I was like, "How have you done that?" And this is like, "I'm just using the tape on tape, the sound on sound feature in the Volante."
Oh wow!
So it's one of those pedals. It is capable of doing so much, but because of the interface, you just need to spend some time with it. And like everything, but in true Strymon fashion, they've crammed so much in this. It's and it's a unique way of doing multi-head delay.
Yeah. So on the sort of on the surface, it's Echo Rec type. So Binson Echo Rec, famous drum-based echo with 4 heads. It starts there, but it also then does tape, emulations, of course, it's digital modelling, and then a studio multi-head type delay. The 8 buttons that you can see on the top panel there relate to 4 different heads, playback heads, and whether they are full volume in the green setting, whether they are half volume in the orange setting.
Wow.
And if they're on at all, it's whether you get the swell, I believe, isn't it?
You're nailing it, mate. You've remembered so much more than
I think. In addition, if you press and hold, you can pan those heads left and right, and it might be that they are panned left and right currently from when we last used it.
Okay.
Let's see, shall we, Daniel? Here you go then. So here we are in. This is really great because I genuinely don't have my glasses, so I'm trying to remember. Here's just the sound of the amps.
So I think you need to put the playback one.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's it?
It's the other way round.
Right.
So then that would give you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So head 1, head 2, head 3, head 4. And if you've got them all on, they'll all play together. If you turn all this on, they'll all repeat together as well. Now, what's interesting is this ratio button here determines at what distance the heads are apart.
Okay.
So this is the golden ratio. There's also the silver ratio, triplets or even. So if they're even, we think Davy G's famous correct settings was 1, 3, and 4. What I do know is that if the time's really short and you put loads of repeats on, keep going, you end up with early Floydy type sounds. Sid Barrett era.
Oh, okay.
Where you get that almost very short reverby.
Sure.
Sing Effervescing Elephant, Daniel. So that's the short story, and then you can have all different versions of that with tape and all kinds of things. In addition, some controls to get some interest. If we just did it with head 3 a sec.
Right.
Try that. And I think you can affect the fidelity of the repeats even more by going into the half-time mode. if you were to take the feedback off each of those heads, that would probably stop a lot of that.
One thing I have got so much respect for Pete Celli. He
From Strymon.
So Pete's the designer. And I'd love to do an interview with Pete because I've got so many questions for him. But he really understands the mechanical workings of these devices, and he knows the elements of it that make a material difference.
Yeah.
It's so impressive.
And that's just the Echarec side. So it'll be interesting when we get the T-Rex Echarec, the new T-Rex Echarec. We'll put them side by side and see what we think of the sounds. But they've packed it all in there. And obviously, the combination of heads you choose and whether you have the feedback turned on for each head enables you to set the pattern of your delays. So you can get into some quite complex patterns, also using the ratio control to decide how far those heads are apart.
Right.
And that's kind of thing one, because then it does all that in tape as well, and in the studio setting. Plus, there's a sound on Sound Looper, which I've never even tried. Do you know how it works?
No.
Yeah.
Haven't done that yet, but I have heard the results of people who know how to use it, and it is so impressive. And there's a spring reverb in there as well.
Oh, so better have a listen to that then. Turn it off in the Zwei rockin'.
Oh man,
Good noises.
I'm now rethinking everything. Sounds so good.
It does. In that, we have remarked upon the Volante's kind of hi-fi sound before. Actually, in that environment, it's entirely a bonus, isn't it? And also when playing live, because you've got that extra fidelity.
Yeah.
So you can be heard. It didn't miss a beat being absolutely smashed by the JuJu and the Royal Overdrive and the Lovepedal there.
Yeah, and you've got a switch. You can put it in the effects loop because there's a switch on it to go between guitar, instrument level, and line level.
Yeah.
But at instrument level, and we were smashing it then, and it's just flawless.
Yeah. Messed around with got it into a bit of oscillation there and played around with the time. Literally just scratched the surface of what it can do. It remains inspiring.
Yeah.
It would be good to do a show with that and the
new T-Rex one.
That, but also the DM101.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which is Boss's multi-head analog delay. Different thing, but has a bunch of multi-heads and a bunch of ways to manipulate them. 4 heads is really unusual in a modern delay pedal, by the way.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm all
goosey.
I'm all a fluster.
Even Rosie's barking.
Thank you, Rosie. Brilliant. Yeah, this has been so much fun. Any final? We need to do another show with the amps.
Yeah. We'll do a couple more trips down memory lane. Seems appropriate to do it across the summer while you're all sort of. Some of you have the luxury of kicking back and spending some time watching videos.
Yeah.
On old stuff.
And there are a bunch of people that have been with us since the start. I'm sure you'll enjoy seeing these again. So thank you so much for watching. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grab some merch. We've got some new t-shirts in stock, pedals, strings, hats. Go and have a look. It's really great.
Get you there.
Also, a massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Andertons of Guildford in Surrey, where you can get most of this stuff, probably.
Yeah, and our mates in Australia.
Pedal Empire of Brisbane, Queensland, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Check out their lovely wares.
Indeed. And also, our friends in America.
Thatpedalshop.com should you wish to buy pedals and accessories and amps for the USA and Canada. And we will finally say, if you haven't turned off already, patreon.com/thatpedalshow if you want to support us in that way as well, for which we are greatly appreciative. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you on Monday for viewers, comments and questions.
Well, we might not if it's still the summer holidays because we are taking some time off. So.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We may or we may not
see you on
Monday.
A Monday for viewers, comments and questions.
Yeah.
When that may be, who knows. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.